Hi, moms. So, yesterday I asked you guys to ask me a question, and one of the questions that came up was to do with mental health. And this is a topic that is dear to my heart because um, at times I've struggled with my mental health. And I think for most moms, they do go through a period of time where they just feel like everything is just too much, okay? So, yesterday I made a video about childhood trauma, so please watch that because it's all connected, okay? So, if you went through things in your childhood and you've not healed from them, and if you probably are still going through uh, things maybe to do with your relationships, maybe abuse, or if you're going through financial difficulties and all that, or there's a problem with your health or your children's health, then it's obviously going to be normal if you're not feeling your best. Okay, the problem we have with mental health is more with the stigma more than anything, because in most cases most people act as if it's a big deal. Oh my god, you have mental health, that's big, don't even talk about it. Okay, but it's human nature. If something is not making sense to you, if you're trying to look for answers in your brain and you can't find those answers, then you're going to have mental health problems. Okay, you're going to have depression. Okay, it's a body reaction because it's just chemicals being produced by your brain to let you know that something is wrong. Okay, so the problem is we like see depression or mental health as a big issue. It's really not. I would say that it's really not. It's only because you're seeking for answers and there's just too much imbalance going on in terms of your life. You just feel like there's no balance, or you just feel threatened, or you feel you have too many questions that you have and you can't find the answers to that. Okay, so one thing I like to mention, or something I like to say, is that I personally believe that we are not meant to live such a stressful life. Um, we we are still we are still those we are still like those humans that lived maybe years back in the savannah, that used to live in communities. They used to protect each other. They used to be there for each other. They would communicate. There would be music. There would be, activities. So life was more structured, and there was more family and society feel. And that's the thing. Even with most animals, they live in herds, and they have their own communities. And it's only us that are disconnected from nature. Okay, nature has its own community, and there's an ecosystem that keep the nature going. But we somehow think that we can live on our own, not have community, and not address issues that bother us. Then that cannot work. Okay, so we need to remember that we are still human. If you're overwhelmed, you need to start learning of ways of coping. Okay, or ways to process your emotions. Okay, so for people that have gone through childhood trauma, there's so many ways that you can work around that. the best thing is not to ignore that and just be aware, because at the moment, the things that happen to you are in your subconscious. And as I said my last video, we are controlled by our subconscious mind. It's 95% of our behavior is subconscious. Okay, so it's very, very important to make sure that you address those issues. Okay. Another thing I would like to say is that you can form different patterns of thinking. One way you can do that is by reading books of people that have overcome what you've gone through, maybe, or something closer to what you've gone through. Read how people overcame that. Also, as I mentioned yesterday, some people offer to go for some for hypnosis because that addresses your subconscious. There's various ways to do it. It really, really depends on you and what will work with you. For some people, it will be helpful if they can sit down with someone and talk about those issues and try and find a resolution within their minds. Yeah, it really all depends on you as a person. Other people, they'll just go to nature and they'll just feel okay and they'll just feel connected. The problem that most of us go through mental health problems is because we are trying to run away from what our hearts or our soul is telling us is good for us. Okay, maybe that may mean slowing down, or that may mean changing careers, and we're not ready to do that, or maybe even getting out of an abusive relationship. We don't really want to do that. So the best thing is to make peace with yourself and do what you need to do to heal. Okay, ignoring the problem will not help you. So as I mentioned I think I mentioned it on my last video, you can form new behaviors. And the way you can form new behaviors and new ways of thinking, because in most cases when mental health is on a prolonged period of time, it's because you formed sort of like a behavioral pattern that sent you down a spiral. Okay, so if you can form a different pattern, so when you catch yourself going down that spiral, if you can do something that helps you get out of that downward spiral, then do that. Also be part of try and be part of a community if you can. For example, if you have a certain hobby, find people that have the same hobby and do it together. If you can join sports, maybe anything that will help you feel connected to the world, okay, to a community, then do that. Okay, so my kids have woken up, but I'll probably do a Q&A on this topic, so that if you have a specific question about it, then I can answer that for you. Okay, so thank you and have a lovely day. Bye.